Winter, spring, summer, fall, seasons change, we still keep it together.
Hey Beverly Hills 90210 fans, are you ready to dive deep, episode by episode, storyline by storyline, character by character, as we break down the making of your favorite zip code, with your hosts, Charles Rosen.
Did I say that?
Harry
This
Mullen.
heinous thing about the real person, and we're going, what? We're getting rid of this guy.
Pete Ferrero.
I'm feeling wonderful. Kathleen looks TV crush-worthy.
Like so many special guests. And all your questions. Live on the Beverly Hills 90210 show. Oh, yeah. Everybody dance now.
Okay, here we are back on the Beverly Hills 90210 show. A very interesting conversation today as we look at we're hyper focusing in on two characters, Susan Keats and Tracy. What is Tracy's last name, Larry?
Galian. Season 6 and season 7. Brandon's girlfriends from those years.
And joining us here on the show is Bryan Navarro, who we met Bryan in Las Vegas, but I've always heard about him. There was a rumor that he was around. People would talk about this friend Bryan, and here he is.
The Reddit board. I mean, it's a big deal. And we got to meet him at the Ryan Thomas Brown Morton Muntz wedding in Vegas, where we were ripping up the town, and we had some fun, and really, totally impressed with Bryan's take on things, and also his vast knowledge of early television. Also,
well, that's cool. One of the things too. And Bryan, I'll let you say hi in a second. We're talking about you now, as if you're not here. But one of the things
glad to see him.
I like about Bryan so much is his vast knowledge of television. So I think there's a lot more to do with Bryan here on this podcast, and I think you guys are gonna enjoy his takes. And now, Bryan, you do run this Reddit page. Tell me about that.
Well, I got involved with it. Oh God, I think it's 3 years ago or 4 years ago now. Back then it was really small. It was still double digits, just very small little page. I got involved with it because I was a big fan of the IMDb message boards for the show back in the day. And then so after those closed down, there was kind of like a hole that needed to be filled, a void. And so I stumbled upon the Reddit page. I got involved there, and I started doing the weekly We Watch, where we watch an episode and provide colorful commentary. And that's what really started to make the sub actually grow where it is now.
Incredible stuff. All right. I have to address a couple of things. So let me start with this video, and then I'll explain everything that happened and what's happening.
Hello, everyone. I have super exciting news. So my friend Pete Ferrero and I have been developing a docu-series called The Most 90s Things Ever. And it is, of course, about the 90s. Television shows, music. But each season of this show will cover one specific thing, narrated and hosted by someone directly involved in the project. This will be a deep dive into what that decade was like. We have decided that the first season should obviously be 90210. Clark. Hosted by myself, directed by Pete. We want to be talking to actors, guest actors, writers, directors, camera operators. We want to be speaking to everyone that was a part of the project, even execs up at Fox. We want to bring you the full scope of what that experience was like.
For so many, Beverly Hills 90210 was the glue that connected everyone together. But for me, Jason, Shannon, Tori, Jenny, Ian, Gabrielle, and Luke, it was a roller coaster filled with peaks and valleys. And in the end, we were forever changed by the experience.
I know I had spoken about it a bit yesterday and set up a GoFundMe. That was a bit of, honestly, just a test to see what kind of interest there would be. So the people that donated, I like to say donated blindly because they were promised nothing in return. And we'll be doing a Zoom call with you all, with myself and Pete, talking about the concept of the show, answering some questions. We're going to be setting up a link on this, and it will go to a page that sort of describes a little more in depth what it is we're doing, and then there will be a spot where you can submit your email address, just to put yourself sort of on the list of people that are interested. We're just compiling a list. We won't be using your email addresses for anything else. Nobody else will be seeing them. It's just for us, just for this purpose, and then that's it. So thank you to everybody that donated yesterday, and thank you to everyone that is excited for this concept. As excited as we are. Let's do this. The most 90s things ever. 90210. Because remember, it doesn't matter what you say about someone once they're gone. What matters is how you treat them when they're still here.
Okay, so Bryan and I have been talking about doing this concept for so long, and we were finally like, let's just do a GoFundMe. But we were like, I don't even know if we should do a GoFundMe. We thought about a Kickstarter. We don't know anything. We don't know which one is the best. There's multiple. There's Indiegogo. There's Seed and Spark, which I don't even know what that means. So we just were like, well, let's just try it and see what happens. And it was a really big response yesterday with people super excited about it. But ultimately, we had a call with someone this morning that was like, hey, why don't you guys sort of just get some email signs up and get people excited about the project first, and then you can maybe see what you need at the end of that and get a GoFundMe. So we kind of reset a little bit, and now that's where we are with this project. So that's what I wanted to address up at the top. But find out all this stuff, most90sthingsEver.com/home. You have to put /home. It will not take you where you need to go without the /home. And sign up for our email list so we can get you all excited and keep you up in the with the news. Larry, are you going to be interviewed for this docu-series? You're one. I
go 80s and 90s and 2000s, but yeah, 90s. I have some Knight Rider. I got Renegade, and obviously 90210. So yeah, I was around it. I had some wonderful failed pilots.
But you also worked on this show that we're covering.
Yes, I know. I mean, besides that, I was touching other cultural touchstones, like
you'll be on every season, Larry.
Renegade. Renegade is very big in Serbia. I cannot explain to you how insane they are about a Renegade in Serbia.
Was 90210? I mean, we're going to get into the topic at hand, but was 90210 somewhere super popular somewhere outside of this? I mean, I know we did a whole thing about that, but was there one place that was surprising to you where you were like, I don't understand how they're watching the show?
Obviously, Russia. I mean, my friend Lilia and her travails.
Oh, bless you!
When she had to kind of to watch every episode, it took a lot of work and maneuvering to get a signal in communist Russia.
In line for bread, watch 90210 after that. Yeah. All right. So that's what's going on there. Thank you everyone for the donations. Bryan and I will definitely set up the Zoom for all of you that did donate, and some of them are podcaster fans here, so it's very, very cool. Okay, let's talk about Susan Keats and Tracy. Let's get into this topic. You invented both of these people, Larry.
Well, I mean, with the staff of season 6 and 7, yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So,
I mean, both of them. Yeah, I mean, both of them. Again, as I always say, they were meant to serve the story. I mean, either one, when they launched, could have taken off and become, what Kathleen Robertson did, regular on the show. It was always possible. But it was never the intention, and they were basically, the other girl, while we want to, just tell other stories with, I mean, people should meet other people. I mean, you never know what's going to happen. I mean, certainly if we felt another way, they could have gone there. But Susan Keats, we wanted the environment of the newspaper again, and she came in strong. Emma Caulfield just grabbed the role, and she had a different look than the other girls, totally. and a different vibe, and she was challenging. I mean, look, I want to hear some of the questions that I know Bryan asked his fans, but we looked at her as iron sharpens iron, as they say in wrestling.
Yeah, they do say that in wrestling.
So we wanted someone to challenge.
DiBiase used to say that to me all the time. And now I know where he got it from. God, oh, that's funny. Okay, so you mentioned this thing. I wanted to ask you about this. I was going to wait till later to ask you this. You just mentioned that Kathleen Robertson, and Chuck has said, is probably the only person that came on the show with a short window of coming on the show and then impressed you guys enough to bring back as a regular character.
Well, Jamie Walters also. I mean, just it was
a little bit of a different.
I mean, it didn't end well, but it certainly, he went beyond his contract.
So you said when we just started this that it was possible that Tracy and it could have happened for Tracy and Susan, but not really.
Just didn't get over. It just didn't overwhelm. Just we knew where we were going to go, and also don't forget, we kind of thought in our minds that the end of college might be the end of the series, so we might have to really wrap up the final thing. We knew it was going to be at that point after Luke had exited. It was going to be Brandon and Kelly, and it was going to be David and Donna, and and so we knew we had to go there in the long runs. That's always you're watching because you're long, you're telling stories over a long period. You're slow playing stories. So yeah, so
if you have one more year, you're marrying off Brandon with Kelly.
No, marriages would never, for me, that wouldn't have done.
I'm sorry. The series is ending at the end of the end.
Oh, at the end of college? No, I don't even think they would. No, because you had the David and Donna wedding. I mean, it's kind of corny to have a double wedding. I don't know.
Okay, but you would wind
maybe they got married the night before. Yeah, I mean, I can't say that, but we wouldn't have a big ceremony. There would be one
wedding, but Brandon and
they
Kelly
could have, maybe if it was right, they could have, gone to Mexico and got married, a Mexican wedding or something,
Okay, but that's possible. Who you were. That's so because
if we knew we were wrapping up then, but there was a desire to go beyond because they were making deals with people.
I guess what I'm asking is, are Susan and Tracy placeholders for Kelly?
Right.
As an actor, they had contracts which I'm sure were like 10 out of 13, and then they would have gotten picked up for the whole season. So I think both of them out earned their original contracts. They got second contracts, I'm sure.
Right.
And again, I wasn't there after season 7. It would be kind of fun to have all of a sudden it would have been kind of fun to all of a sudden have Brandon run into Susan like toward the end of season 8, and all of a sudden all that stuff after she totally shafted him. You took the job. We're gonna
watch that clip in a second here. But the thing is that all right, well, let's start looking at some of the Susan stuff. I mean, we looked at this last week, or a few weeks back. But
Susan was she was really ambitious, the same way, and she kind of made Brandon more ambitious.
Yes. Okay, let's look at this. We looked at this a few weeks ago. I just need to say Susan Keats is hot.
I agree.
Don't feel bad. I'm sure I'll think of something. I just thought of something that I like about you.
Yeah? What's that?
Good lips. Great lips.
Okay. We saw that a couple weeks ago. Great kiss, great welcome. It starts
desire is just oozing out from, because Emma, who we've had her on the show, she's a lovely little gal, and she told us how infatuated she was with Jason. So it was kind of like wasn't work for her there. That was kind of fun.
But there was this whole thing about it being a romance and all this stuff, and then there's this question about whether or not they're going to actually hook up, and inevitably, she puts her stuff aside, and she winds up hooking up with Brandon. So we're off to the races with Susan Keats.
I have to say they have fantastic chemistry, the two of them. I think so.
I do agree.
I think so too. I think and Jason plays it beautifully because she's a dynamo. I mean, she's sexy, she's smart, she's ambitious, and she she's a good kisser too, because you can see she just throws herself into stuff. She really is kind of brave and courageous the way she's kind of living her life.
Definitely the type of girl that she wants what she wants, she goes after.
Yeah, and I think and again, as the series, because we didn't really have how we were going to end them, but as that season developed, we kind of went. We were going to pretend that they really were going to go the distance. Well, first, I don't want to jump too far, but first of all,
I got some.
When do they first have intimacy? I think we put it in the episode with the porno film at the Walsh House.
Is that when they?
I think we do. Yeah,
I did not.
He kind of invites you to the Walsh House the first time, and Steve has rented it out for a porno film.
I want to also say I apologize because I was not able to pull a lot of clips because of this whole debacle with the GoFundMe today. I've been in that world, but I do have a lot. Now, Maggie says something interesting. I loved how both Andrea and Susan were challenging on the first day that Brandon meets them. Was that intentional, Larry?
Probably so. I mean, I'm trying to think now. I know. I just think it was a circumstance. Did I meet obviously in the newspaper office? Is that what happened?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Back in the day, Andrea and him. Andrea gives him a really hard time.
I certainly was not aware of it. It just seemed like a natural place. But
you're basically living.
She mentioned. Listen, I think she mentioned Andrea. So let's just get something clear. Okay.
Oh, I can't.
Let's stack Andrea up against Susan Keats. Okay. Now. Okay. So many of the people here, obviously are female. They're seeing the thing slightly different than me or male. And I think we're going to go Susan Keats. I'm saying there's just something more. And then that's why, I talk about attraction. That I got a lot of heat for that Brandon didn't have that real attraction that you need to cement a relationship. He didn't have it for her. He respected her tremendously.
Go ahead, what's up, Brian?
I said I completely agree. The whole Brandon and Andrea situation. I know a lot of people really want to see them get together, but like Larry said,
Is there more than one person that feels this way?
I
understand. Okay, because I have one.
This whole Brandria. There's a
that's
Brandria.
The name. That's the person. That's the person that you're talking about. Yeah.
I know what you're talking about. I've seen the stories.
I mean, she came at me so hard about this, I was under attack over it. I'm like,
I know, but just again, think about the two together, Emma or Susan Keats and
Andrea
Zuckerman, and
it's not
even just like she's like Andrea supercharged. Yes, she is Andrea 2.0, but it's a much better, hotter
not even
version.
The looks thing. It is not even the looks thing because that's for everybody. It's the confidence. It's the way she comes at Brandon. Yeah. Andrea was jealous over wanted to get rid of Emily Valentine from the newspaper because she was jealous. You know what I mean? Like she was whiny, at times when like chasing after him. Susan Keats, once she's in, she's locked in for Brandon.
Yeah. Now the thing about Susan, we have to reveal, of course, is she's much more complicated. She's a woman with another guy who's kind of hanging over her. Jonathan, we bring him, who's a real thorn in Brandon's side. That was a good character. That worked out well. And she had an abortion, so she's always got this kind of complicated guilt about things. But ultimately.
Comments are coming in. Let's get some of these comments here.
Okay.
Someone says, I always felt Susan and Tracy looked so much alike to the point where I would get them mixed up when I did rewatches. Did anyone feel that they looked I don't feel that they look alike at all. No, they're two different actresses. I mean,
if I had to do it again, I wouldn't have the same hair color.
That's fair.
Probably.
Let's see.
I don't find the vibe so different.
No, I agree. Oh, I would say that Tracy, again, this is no offense to the actress. I would say that Tracy had needy Andrea vibes. I liked Susan for Brandon. Brandon treated Tracy badly. So glad Tracy moved on.
Okay, I think I see something here. Now I'm going to say something. Okay. I think Susan would always love herself more than she would love Brandon.
Okay,
Tracy would love Brandon more than herself.
Yeah.
That's kind of sort of how I'm seeing it. Brian, what do you think?
Brian, can you hear us?
I'm having some trouble hearing you guys right
now.
Oh my God, I feel like I'm on CNN here.
Okay, there you go. We're in cabal here. No, I think that's a kind of I said something I had just thought about. Can you hear me now, Brian?
Brian, can you hear us? All right, let me play another clip. Brian,
another
exit,
clip.
exit, and enter. Re-exit and enter, and I will play another clip. Let's see this. I don't know what I pulled, man.
About it being a waste of money.
Jonathan Caston.
The editor of the Condor last year. What about him?
The guy. The one standing in the way.
You mean you two? I thought you had a thing against office romance.
I do. Now. Because of him.
And how come you never told me about him?
Because he's ancient history. Look, there was a time when he meant a lot to me. And when he moved to Seattle, I did miss him a lot, but then I met you and... What was that for?
Told me the truth.
Okay, so here's Brian. I'm sorry. Hey, man, you good?
Yeah, sorry, I was just getting a little choppy on my end.
Oh,
okay.
Brian, I was saying this thing which I thought about, and I think it kind of leaves. I understand it. Maybe it's the crux of why I think ultimately Tracy is better for Brandon. Susan would always love herself more than she loved Brandon. Tracy would love Brandon more than herself.
I agree with that. And, this is kind of where it could starts to conflict for me because, I agree. Susan was definitely, she would definitely love herself more. It's evidenced with how she took the job at the end of the season.
We're going to get
there.
But,
I mean, I think that's what Brandon's attracted to, though. He's attracted to strong women that are kind of difficult for him to really connect with.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. I mean, it's the equivalent of girls going after bad boys.
The thing about that last scene that we just watched is this is the hint of the Jonathan that we talked about. But Brandon and Susan's kissing is on point.
Very strong.
It's intense.
No, I think Jason really liked doing those scenes, and he understood what we were trying to do with the characters too, which is great. And that's what makes the end of that season really effective, where he kind of really gives up, as I remember, a big job in Boston to have this road trip with her, which they kind of plan and really, cement their relationship. And then instead she doesn't give up the job. She takes her job in Washington. And that's,
we're going to get there.
And he dumps her,
Let's read this comment. I'm reading all your statements because I like them all. Now, I have never agreed with anybody more. Let's see. Jamie says, hi, Jamie. Susan was Brandon's best match of any girl he dated. I didn't feel that way when the show was airing, but realized it after rewatching it once the show ended. This is a fact. This is a fact. Susan was Brandon's best match of any girl he dated. I agree. Do you guys have thoughts on that, Brian?
I agree as well. The whole Tracy thing, I like Tracy. I've definitely grown to like her as I rewatched the series, but yeah, I mean, Susan, I always sometimes joke, she's like Brandon, but if she was a woman. It's like they're very similar, but it works.
Right. Let's see. All right, here's another Susan Keats clip. No idea what I'm in for.
You're dressed very slow, Keats.
No. Very fast.
Oh, I like that. Hey, why don't we focus on some indoor sports for the moment? We could maybe do some Greco-Roman wrestling. I heard about this new move. It's called the Beast with Two Backs. Have you ever heard of it? Oh.
Too bad. You lost your chance. I'm going to the pool. Gracious.
Wait a minute. Do me a favor. Put this on. We'll never make it to the elevator.
This is...
I don't remember that scene at all.
Well, this is from the thing that happens in the elevator.
Oh, earthquake
weather.
Oh.
Yeah. But my point by pulling this clip is that there is, first off, she's so attractive, and he is really into her.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's why I'm showing you these clips. Do we want to talk about, though, we have to talk, and I didn't pull this, but we should talk about the relationship challenges. So in the Susan relationship.
Well, just given the timeline, because I think after this one, then, I think in Speechless is the one finally they commit to each other and they're intimate together for the first time. It's kind of juxtaposed against Steve having the porno film in the Walsh house and the girls being stuck up in the nunnery and it's a full episode. And that's when they do it. So that's the beginning of their relationship. And things are, they're good. I mean, they both work together. She pushes him, he pushes her. Right. And then this Jonathan Caston thing comes in and basically we kind of, touch on an abortion story, which again, in the 90s was pretty risque. We kind of, we do the whole thing there. And actually we bring it into an award ceremony where she's going to get this award for this for this film or this paper she wrote or something.
Right.
I think it was
for a journalist. Yeah, it's a journalistic piece. And actually we have Elle there too. We start the whole, maybe, is this season 7 or no? Season 6.
Yeah, but Elle does return in season 7 too, I feel like.
Okay.
I feel like she's
Oh yeah, so we had her here and then we couldn't do that. Now, just like we couldn't have poor Susan dressed as an Indian princess. I don't think
I can't. I'll make the joke off camera. But there's this other thing that happens too before all that Jonathan stuff.
Did you hear that?
Of course I did. Someone just knocked on your door.
Brandon?
What was that?
You're not gonna believe it because I don't. Hang on a second, Mom.
Your mother? Oh my God, this is worse than 8th grade. Brandon, honey, are you up?
Hang on.
Surprise!
Mom, what are you doing here?
Well, I'm home for the holidays. Oh, Brandon, I'm so sorry. You have company.
Yeah, Mom, this is Susan Keats. Susan, this is my mom.
How do you do, Susan?
Well, at the moment, I'm rather mortified.
So I love that scene.
I love that scene, yeah.
Yeah. Let's see what other things people are saying. Let's see. Rachel says, I loved Susan. Okay. I thought her and Brandon had really good chemistry. I felt his and Tracy's relationship was too forced. It didn't feel natural. There was no heat leading up to them together. He was not pursuing her. She pursued him, and he just went along for the ride.
Well, there's a lot of truth in that. But, okay. When we talk more about Tracy, I'll give some other opinion on that. But
okay. But so
I want to hear, Brian, was there any Reddit action or did you ask for questions on the Reddit board?
Yeah. Well, you mentioned the whole brunette hair thing. One user did have a question about that. User Peach Pit After Dark, I believe, joked, do you think Brandon had a thing for brunette, strong-headed women, something along those lines?
That's a detail I would have liked to have changed, but you're always better when characters don't look alike, obviously.
Well, so we're all agreeing that they looked alike? Because I'm not on that.
I don't think they do, but I can see people saying, "Oh, yeah, it's just because they're dark-haired, waifish girls."
That opinion, but as I've rewatched it, I don't see it anymore. I used to think, Tracy's kind of a Susan clone, but after rewatching it these past few episodes, I don't see it.
Yeah, I find her very country-like. That's why I kind of I don't find Susan's very urban to me, and Tracy's a little bit more down-homish.
But
and Susan, is probably was not an academic achiever. She's kind of a regular a co-ed who's got some skills, and we have her as a talking head, and so she's just reading words. She's not making the news like Susan would be writing the news.
I'm curious in your world, Larry, at this time. Does anybody say Tracy is just a Susan clone?
No, not at all.
So nobody
never heard that. No.
Okay. Well,
but again, this is a world before social media, so word took a while to get back to us. People have to write letters. We have to see questions in fan magazines.
Oh my God! Could you imagine how Mr. Spelling would have been reacting if social media was there? The amount of excuses to get rid of people in and out, it would have been the comings and going would have been crazy.
Of course, we do start social media. We predate the WW World Wide Web with our Delphi. Also, I forgot that it was in the Fire episode where lesbians show up at the party because it's posted in the electronic bulletin board.
It's on like what Reddit would be today.
Women seeking women. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Reddit board. a community
What
board.
always gets me is that season 5 episode with the Rolling Stones, where Claire is just trolling the Rolling Stones fans on the message boards.
I know. I have mentioned that.
And
to her.
you know what I should say is that all those kind of
She didn't really
feelings
do that,
on that troll were really from Jason, who really made fun of us getting the Rolling Stones.
But Claire and David are the first internet. Well, Claire specifically is probably the first time an internet troll appears on television.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah,
And I wanted it to be. I was very intentional with that. You know,
Yeah,
once,
I mean,
once I saw the hookup.
You have that episode where she's interviewing Ray and a bunch of other people. She's like the first person to do vlogs too.
Oh, I can't wait to share that with her.
To do what? To do what was that?
The vlogs. It's like, you know.
Oh, exactly. Exactly. I mean, we're doing. Yeah, no, I was on top. Yeah, I want because once I knew that Fox was part of the Delphi family, which was a early AOL, rival, much smaller. It was a dial-up service. That we just kind of used it. We just kind of. I like to do stuff like that.
Well, unfortunately, as all relationships in 90210, it ends horrifically.
You took the job, didn't you?
Brandon,
You took the job? You took the job?
I'm sorry. Okay? I applied for this before I even met you. There were over 5,000 applicants. I never dreamed that this would happen.
Great. That makes me feel a lot better.
Please, I can't turn this down. It's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to work for the presidential campaign. It's just too important.
And what was my job in Boston?
I know. You have every right to be angry. You turned down your job for our summer together, but this could mean really big things for the both of us if you just have a little faith.
Faith. That's funny, you talking about faith. Have a nice night.
Maybe he should have kind of let it roll a bit. Maybe he was too hasty.
He was infuriated. He came in hot. I cut it down because I felt uncomfortable, with the aggressive tone that he had when he walked in the room. He was, listen,
she might have been right. Sometimes you make mistakes in life, kids. That's a cautionary tale I didn't realize, but maybe he shouldn't have acted so harshly. She took the job. Maybe she can help him. I don't know.
Exactly.
But I think he did love the job in Boston because, of course, I liked him in Boston.
I mean, it's like you said, this could be great for the both of us. She could have probably opened up some opportunities for him as well.
That's why
you make a lot of mistakes in life.
In my world, in my reboot, or where are they now? I don't know what we call that, but in mine, they are together currently.
Could be.
They found each other after he left.
It could be, but looking at if this really had a life beyond 90210, these characters were living in.
I see it that way.
Some of the alternate, and growing older together. There's no way in hell that the Susan Brandon relationship would last as a marriage. Okay.
Honestly, explain
they
why.
would just because there's just iron sharpens iron, but also it's going to cause sparks.
Okay.
And it's just going to be too, just like this thing here. It's just going to blow apart. And it just never works with two really strong, overpowering professional people. And that's why
that's fair.
Tracy,
so they might have a couple
in a distance, probably in the long way.
Well, Tracy's probably the more like Cindy Potter.
Cindy Walsh. Exactly.
Yeah.
That's what I was going to get at when I defend my Tracy choice. Who is best for Brandon?
Right.
Exactly right. That he's got to do what his family did. And that he's got to be the wage earner, and she's got to raise the children, and he's got to still be the last of the generation to have that.
So let's look at some Tracy stuff. Bryan, do you have any other thoughts and questions and comments that have come from Reddit that you want to? Are we there yet for that kind of stuff, or?
Let me see. Most of them are more Tracy related, so we can.
Oh, I love that. Oh, because Tracy, I want to say, Jill's been on this show a few times, and she is so lovely and so sweet, and portrays Tracy in such a, I don't know, just with love and like.
She's a vulnerable
light and beautiful and vulnerability, as you said, and she's a beautiful person. Like, she's a very attractive person, you know what I mean? So I know that she gets heat on everywhere, but is it possible that Susan Keats was so hot that comparatively whomever he would have dated that was new would have been a problem for the actor or the character? Susan Keats was hot.
I can see that. Not just the attractive part, but the
No,
whole,
like
you
the
know,
fire that she brought to
the fire. Yeah, exactly. Lots of passion in that relationship, and it was kind of hard to match that afterwards.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking about, as you're talking there about that, because we end season 6 there, and then season 7 before Tracy, the only romance kind of and it's just really one episode kind of an infatuation is with Mariah in Remember the Alamo.
Oh, right.
He's in Texas there. They have kind of a sweet moment. They basically have a kiss.
I just want to say, when we announced that this was coming, the first reaction for some fans is if you say, okay, we're going to talk about Susan or Tracy, for some reason they will post, what about Andrea? That's not this conversation. Or
will not let that go.
Or what about Kelly? We're not having that conversation today. That's not this is Susan or Tracy. So it's irrelevant. Those two people are irrelevant to the conversation. Let's take a look at Tracy.
Copy that we're going to lead off with tomorrow. I kind of want to run that through with the copy and the video as well, all right?
Okay.
Paula.
I'm on it. Earth to camera 2. We want the home folks to see what Tracy is saying. Last I checked, she didn't talk with her legs.
I don't know. They sure speak to me.
Another scotch for the lady.
Yes, please.
You sure about this? I mean, that is your third. Of course she's sure. You are sure, aren't you?
Did I ever tell you about the farm I grew up on?
Nope.
600 of the most beautiful acres in the Central Valley.
Ah, Steinbeck country.
My grandparents were Okies. The Depression wiped them out, so they put everything in a truck, crossed the country, and started over. Imagine that.
Tough stock.
Only time my grandma ever cried was when she found out I was going to college. First one in the family.
So she's lit. But this is how they get her to. This is how they get her to.
She has stage fright, and it kind of gets out of hand.
They do have this kiss. We shared this once before. It's very quick.
Brandon, I'm sorry. I was just really nervous. Could we start over again?
Sure.
You want to come in?
Actually, no.
No?
No, but I would like a kiss goodnight. Good night.
Right.
There's something so magical about him in his top hat now. For their kiss, you know.
The whole, the chaplain got up.
Yeah. So what do you think about that kiss, Larry? Now I'm going to put you in the hot seat. You're about to make it. You're about to defend.
I think what Tracy was, what the character was. Yes, she was kind of Andrea needy, but as I said before, she probably and Brandon's thinking about a long-term relationship. He's looking at his parents. And she would be a Cindy Walsh character in his family. She would be just like his mother. She would have children. She would be a great homemaker. And he would become the guy. It would be like the last generation before Generation X to have that traditional family thing. Mm-hmm. And I think he might find happiness. With Susan, I think he will have fun. But whether he'll be able to have happiness over a long period of time, I don't know. So I think both of them were well done. I mean, I'm glad now about the choice we made other than the hair color. But I think if I was going to say who is better for Brandon, I'm going to say Tracy. Die on that hill.
Let's read some other people's opinions on this topic. Kendra says, Tracy was great, but came at the wrong time for Brandon, in my opinion. Brandon was already on to Kelly in his mind and heart. Thoughts on that comment? Bryan?
That's how we planned it. I mean, that's again, that was the, sometimes characters are meant to serve the story. And then if you see it going another way, you'll start changing it. Like we did with Kathleen, writing her into the show as more than just a kind of a tease character. And, more like Jamie, I suppose he was going to be like a couple of episodes and not become a major arc or even a character who's going to end up in the opening credits.
Our friend Fernando says you forgot about Brandon and Tiger Lily. Again, not what we're talking about here, but because I love Catherine Kendall, I just absolutely loved. I love that. I let that slide and come in there because she's such a good person, and just I'm so grateful I met her through the podcast. Let's see, and she's in a new movie, Larry.
Good.
Yeah, it's out, and it's It's a big,
Yeah,
big
I'm a
movie.
I'm a big fan.
It's all
of
about
hers, too.
that. It's all about that whole situation with Weinstein. It's the movie that's about
Oh,
that.
okay. Well,
Yeah.
she was an accuser.
Yeah. Well, she doesn't play herself. She plays somebody else that was integral in it. Okay. Catherine says Susan was his ultimate match, in my opinion. Tracy explicitly non-political, not enough substance for Brandon.
You know, it's
a
observation.
very
The observation is correct, but that's not necessarily a negative thing.
Right.
Again, I'm not looking at it as a 5-year contract. I'm looking at it as people.
So you think it's more, what you're suggesting is it's more likely after Brandon leaves.
It takes two people to create a relationship.
After Brandon leaves 90210, after he leaves Beverly Hills,
yes,
it's plausible that if he ran into Susan in DC, it would be like they would hook up for the night and be like, "Oh my God,
oh yeah."
But if he ran into Tracy, it might be for life.
No, she'd be married. Yes, but she'd already be married probably.
Got you.
And have to be divorced, and he'd pick her up with a kid. Because he realizes that he really wants that stability in his life. He's got to be flying all around the world as as some type of a high job, not running the freaking little newspaper. Got to have a real big job.
It's going on.
The idiocy in that is just
all right. Okay, so but here's the flaw in your arguments for Tracy. There's two scenes where Brandon is says what's up. So here are those two. So this one in Hong Kong specifically.
National Dateline for that? No Confucius, no Dalai Lama, no fortune cookie, no nothing. That's it?
Well, I think everything falls into place after you find someone you love.
Well said.
I'm off the charts.
Kind of like you and Tracy. I can see that she cares about you quite a bit.
And I care about her.
How much? As my friend.
A little less than she cares about me.
I think you ought to tell her.
Why?
Brandon, I can see you still care about Kelly.
Dad, let's not get into that.
It's obvious.
Okay. After Kelly turned me down, I held on to the engagement ring for quite a while. But then a couple of weeks ago, I returned it. And that's that.
Well, if that's how you feel.
That's how I feel. Of course that's how I feel. Why else would I bring Tracy to Hong Kong?
Because I sent you 2 tickets.
That's not funny.
Wasn't trying to be funny.
I thought it was funny. Here's a flaw, though, in your argument. He is saying, I'm not into her. Do you understand? He's just.
Do you understand that you make mistakes in life, Pete, and then you regret
Yes,
them,
believe me, I understand that.
And you say the one that got away, and she would have been right for me. I could have had the life I wanted.
Sure.
Instead, I kind of run around after her, and then what's going to happen when Tracy has the big job on network television, and he's just like running the Pete paper? It's just. I don't see them going the distance. That's all I'm saying. And this is a silly argument, but since we're
this is what we're doing.
But I think I like the fact that the two characters are different. I tell you, I don't think I've seen that scene since we did it. Where that was a Hong Kong episode. I don't even know which one that was.
We have to cover that.
Season 7.
Yeah, and I think Jessica Klein told us the story that how did they wind up in Hong Kong? I think she had somebody in the family that went and they moved to Hong Kong, and she said, "Send them to Hong Kong."
Yeah, exactly, because it was not going to be easy to get back. Because again, it was people don't want to hear this, but it was a money thing. We couldn't bring them back together.
Right.
There was so much a casting budget, and the top of the cast took the money.
And let's be honest, I love those actors so much, but at that point in watching 90210, who do you want to see more of? Do you want to see characters like Susan Keyes and Colin Robbins, or do you want to hear what Jim and Cindy are up to? You know what I mean? Like at this point, you want to know what's.
Well, Well, we picked our spots, and this is a good spot here with Brian with Brandon and Jim having this talk, drinking some
totally,
hard
and
liquor.
they were a part of the univerce. So
I like that, and we get Brandon to reveal some stuff that would have been hard to reveal. It's just it really has some weight to it. But like I said, he's saying it now, but he might be making a big mistake.
Can I say there's something about you writers that put Chinese food or eating at a Chinese restaurant into a show that makes me immediately want Chinese now? Like what? So there's that. Catherine says, Larry's talking me into Tracy 25 years later. Oh my God.
I was going to say the same. Larry's making a really good case, in my opinion. The more I hear him bring up his case, the more I'm agreeing with him.
Tracy already met someone after Brendan. That is revealed in the Hawaii episode in season 8. But Larry, that doesn't count for Larry.
I didn't know that, but I could see that happening because, again, a woman who can love unconditionally like that, you don't want to totally discount them. I mean, it just depends.
Our friend Renee says she loves Tracy as a female friend for Val. It was so needed for her. She was great.
That's true.
Val needed as many female friends as she possibly could get. So,
and again, we use that to get at Kelly. Basically, we used that.
Right. Even Val didn't want to be friends really with Tracy. She was only friends with her to annoy Kelly. So, okay. I don't know what he means. After Dick Hong Kong episode. I don't think he means dick. I knew, but let's roll with that word being legitimate. After Dick Hong Kong episode, I knew it was only a matter of time that Brandon was going to end up breaking up Tracy. Hard for Kelly, not cool. Fernanda took that shit seriously, so I get it.
Again, I'm trying to think now. Actually, where we're ending with Brandon and Kelly at the end of season 7. Her father comes in. We have that whole thing with the party and he ends up with Kelly, kind of commiserating with her at the end, right? Kind of, what's going to happen next. I forget. Are they together at the end of that? We need Dr. Weiss from Team John.
Are who together at the end of what episode?
Brandon and Kelly at the end of episode 7
finale.
Yeah, I think they are moving in that direction.
We show them. Yeah, I mean, we see them kind of sitting together and commiserating, I think.
And people are letting me know that YouTube is, being finicky about clips. They always are, and then we always get them allowed. I don't know what word. So just bear with us because here comes another one.
Sorry, I didn't think anyone would be here.
Neither did I.
I thought you were going to be at the talent show. Are you okay?
Not really.
Yeah, you look a little tense. See if I can fix that.
Thanks. So, how are you doing?
I'm hanging in. I miss having you as a friend.
Even after the way I treated you?
Yeah.
Good. I could use a friend myself right about now.
So you're miserable. I'm miserable.
Life sucks.
Well, it doesn't have to be that way.
What do you mean?
I'm saying we can help ease each other's misery.
Trace, I don't think that's such a good idea.
I think it is.
Well, I don't think it is.
So, now you're thinking about what's best for me?
I'm trying to do the right thing here, Trace.
Well, the right thing is giving ourselves a second chance. Take it one day at a time. Night at a time.
I can't do that.
Why?
Because I can't go back. It's over.
You're a real bastard, aren't you?
Yeah, I guess I am. You feel better now?
No. Actually, I feel like a fool. You know, when Kelly was occupied with someone else, it was very convenient to have me to sleep with. Now, all of a sudden, she's back. It's not so damn convenient.
It was never just that, Trace. And for your information, Kelly's not back. She's probably in love with someone else.
Oh. Is that why you're so miserable?
Yes, as a matter of fact, it is.
Good.
Wow.
Wow.
We don't allow ourselves to do that very much, a breakup on TV. That's pretty good.
It goes on. I just got a comment.
And I feel for what do you got?
Someone in this house said that the clips are too long. Someone in this home said that, sent me a text and said that. So, let's see. Loves Brandon and Susan together. Would have been fun for them to have worked. And love yet another. Okay, but also can see Larry's point that they were both too fierce to have stayed together long term. On the other hand, also love Brandon and Emily. Oh, that's a fair. Brandon and Emily is a valid point too.
Well, but it didn't sustain.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, I mean, the real Brandon and Emily didn't sustain, just like the character would.
And that's not an insult because they both admit that. Like Christina,
yes,
Lisa
of course.
said,
No, I wouldn't tell tales out of school.
Yeah.
I mean,
for me, Brian says, "Our
it.
friend Brian, I hope you're doing well.
Brian.
Thank you for all the music. I just feel the chemistry between Susan and Brandon went much deeper than he and Tracy. I thought Susan had more sassy wit."
Yeah, good observation. That doesn't move the needle for me because all that stuff is good. Again, it's a difference between fun and happiness.
Yeah,
happiness is contentment. Fun is an experience you're having in an existential way right now that you don't normally have, and it's elating you.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Tracy has fierce moments too. I mean, the episode right after where she finds the ring, there's a fantastic scene where she really tears him a new one over it.
Yeah, no, she stands up for herself, and I like the fact, again, I've seen this is really new to me, so just I don't mean to be pat myself on the back, but or us on the back, because we had a staff.
No, you should. Yeah.
But just I like the idea that we created this kind of a character from Central California. I think that was kind of good. I know we go visit her house at one point too, right? We go visit the farm, and
we do,
the dog,
which is so awkward. Yeah.
With the ex-boyfriend that's just keeps.
He's a cowboy. Yeah, right.
Is why sometimes I think that's a part of why Tracy's hard to get into. Like even her family background is weird.
Yeah, it's so different. Yeah, it's true that again, probably in looking at if we were going to show them as a real serious couple, we probably would have made that a little bit different. Our parents might have been like academics living in the heartland or something.
Yeah,
but I like the fact, but I forget who plays the cowboy in that scene. He's a pretty good actor. The guy we have.
Brian, do you have any more notes about Tracy?
Yeah, a few. But most of them already been answered. Like, user Mary Pickford asked, were Tracy and Brandon always supposed to be off? There was always that weird off feeling with the relationship.
There is a weird dynamic.
That,
not really.
There was another question asked, were they supposed to be short-term characters, both Tracy and Susan, or were they,
I believe that they were signed like for 10 out of 13.
Right.
Which would have been the standard recurring character deal for something like that. And again, we're writing a lot of scripts in advance, so we really wanted to, know who we were writing for at least 5 episodes.
His question about were Brandon and Tracy always supposed to be a little bit never in sync.
I don't know why that I don't know that's true. I don't. I'd have to see some examples of that. I don't quite. I'm not seeing what they're seeing there.
I think what they're referring to is just how Tracy seemed to always be the one pursuing him rather than Brandon really going after her.
Well, I think Brandon, being a responsible partner, was being patient with his feelings, and he didn't really have the full out feelings. He didn't want to pretend. So I think, but yet she was pursuing him, and sometimes that pursuit wins you over. Some other moment happens where you both bond under. You write the episode, kind of like the Susan Keats in the elevator, stuck in the elevator together, and they get a deeper relationship, or they have to survive in the wild. I can't, just find some way to take their relationship to another level or of trust and intimacy.
Our friend Melinda says, I think Susan was capable of settling down and being more than just a good time.
Good.
Okay. I think it's a valid point that she would have at some point settled into this sort of strong business leader mom type with, but the problem you're saying is that Brandon was also that, and at some point that would have been very a conflict for the two characters.
Because they're two professional people. At one point, one of them, his career is going to really take off.
Right.
And it's going to be a constant.
Then they have to, it's like actors, marrying actors, did that ever work? Very, the percentage is probably like 15, 20%.
I can't believe now.
My friend Ted Danson and Mary Steenburgen, they work, but that's about it I can think of.
And again, we're talking about in terms of Susan and Tracy and in the relationship with Brandon. You know what I mean? That's as individuals, you might say I would be more inclined to be friends with Susan than I would be, Tracy. But in terms of the relationship, we're comparing them in the relationship.
Tracy would send you a birthday card every year and a Christmas card.
Susan would forget every year.
Yeah. Susan would be sitting at dinner on her phone the whole time. Tracy would not.
I feel like it's someone's birthday today. Okay, here's a big long thing from Rachel, but I think there's going to be a good point. I also didn't like the way Tracy acted when Mariah came to visit while promoting her Angel book.
Well, that's when
she was a little immature when she mocked her beliefs with her little comments or eye rolls. She kind of reminded me of Brooke from the Beach Club in those moments. That's over Larry's head. All of this being said, I do think Brandon is a bit harsh with Tracy. It seems as if he is taking all of his frustration out about Kelly on her. She doesn't deserve to be a dumping ground for his frustrations.
Now, this is all a good observation, and again,
well thought out.
And, now we know we're losing Tracy, so we have to start making her less likable. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Because
she's inappropriate.
We're manufacturing a story. We're a series of stories over episodes, and so
I think some of Val rubbed off on her.
Exactly. And the other thing, again, in her defense, people make mistakes. She didn't. She's from the countryside. That kind of woo-woo stuff doesn't go over with her. Her parents are probably Republicans.
That's a good point.
Pretty positive.
Oh, definitely.
They probably don't like it because there's a pentagram in the thing or whatever. She's a witch. I mean, she could be a witch. Who knows? These people live in. Anyway, I like Central California. Don't get me wrong.
Any more points, Brian?
I don't believe so. Just with the whole Tracy thing. I mean, most of the points Larry's already touched up on. Here's a fun one. Peach Pit After Dark asks, who do you think would win in a physical fight, Tracy or Susan?
Oh, Susan, knock her right on her ass.
No. Farm girl delivered calves in this barn and stuff. Got big, done stuff with her forearms, so must be very strong.
She's wrestled a bear somewhere in her life.
No, I don't see that at all. I think you're looking at urban versus country. I think country's going to win.
And Larry would know. Wait a second, WWE executive.
But I take it back. I take it back because Susan would have gone to one of those anti-rape classes where they teach you judo or whatever.
I can
she
see
probably
that.
would have. Yeah, I mean, we would. Yeah,
she knows how to defend herself.
She would. Yeah, she might really whack her. It might be like a UFC kind of one punch thing.
All right. Well, I don't know that we're going to get a consensus here. But so you're voting Larry, still Tracy, Brian.
Well, Tracy in the long run, between fun and happiness. Okay, for happiness, long term situation, I think Tracy. But the fun and life and what the iron sharpening iron, she's got to make him better. He's got to make her better for a short while till they kill each other. And so I mean that's where I stand. But it's a good topic.
I got to give it to Larry. Now that I think about it, I've always seen Brandon as becoming, like a senator or something, some kind of political career. And I think Tracy would have been very happy being a senator's wife and being a homemaker and having that kind of lifestyle.
I got to tell you, I've never really
really helping being the woman behind the man, so to speak, which is that old concept. But seeing him with Jim and Cindy, I can totally see that Midwestern vibe, him being the last generation that believes this, that the woman's place is in the home,
It's a very valid point. It's a very, very valid point.
This is still the 90s. It's, we're 30 years ago. So it's still, well, that's how he was seeing people in a certain way, or should have been. But, but he was with Kelly, and Kelly is the best.
I'm so sorry to tell people this, but Brandon and Kelly were not a good fit. I'm so sorry. I know that it's going to offend a lot more people than Andre.
Yeah, I see them that they are, but, well, it's another discussion.
Another conversation. So maybe one day we'll do Brandon and Kelly. I mean, we should do that.
We've done that, haven't we?
We have never done it. We wanted the actors to join us. So, yeah. Okay.
Brian, it's good to see you. What else is going on for you, Brian? What do you got planned?
Nothing. I'm just working right now. I'm doing another rewatch after this. So on Reddit, I do the Melrose Place.
Have you started that?
Yeah, we're doing a rewatch tonight at 8.
Oh, nice.
Of what show?
Melrose Place.
Oh, okay.
And then this Friday, we're doing the rewatch for 90210. We're doing I forget the name of the episode. It's After With This Ring. So
Season
I can't remember
7.
the episode names.
Oh, okay. Well, let me know. I'll answer anything about that if you need. Well, yeah, be good.
Yeah, all right, guys. This has been great.
Great to see
Good to
people. I'm
see
glad.
Bryan.
Good
Good to see
conversation.
people. Yeah. I
Yeah,
can't wait to
mean,
do more of this. Me and Larry are having a blast with some of these conversations. So we're gonna keep at it.
And Chuck's in Vegas. Hopefully he's not losing too much money. Chuck, I'll be careful.
And
out
hopefully
there.
he's collecting money from the
Chuck's
last
in Vegas right now.
Yeah, that's great. All right, guys. And before I go, I want to again say to just go over to most90stthingsever.com/home, where you can sign up for all the updates regarding this docuseries that Bryan Austin Green and I are working on. All right, guys, have a good one. We'll see everybody next week.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thanks.